Well, we are coming up on just about a year, a little over a year anniversary of when things were going down in the PDX. So what we're going to do is we're just going to open up. We're going to discuss, what happened during the riots and did it really affect a lot of the living, the housing market, and what we're going to see, in the future. We know a lot of you are planning on moving this way, and what's it going to look like here in the next 6 months, 12 months. So if you really want to get an inside look on that, we're getting after it right now. What's up, everybody? My name is Jackson Wilkie.
And Jesse Dow.
That's right. We are the Real Agent Now group right here in the Portland Metro. If this is your first time to this channel, you want to learn all about what it's like to work, eat, sleep, live, play right here in Portland and Vancouver. Make sure you tap that subscribe button. Click the little bell so you're notified every time we do a new video. And we get so many phone calls, emails, texts every day from people moving and relocating here. We absolutely love it. So thinking about moving, relocating anywhere around here, make sure you give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, send us that pigeon carrier, however you want to get a hold of us. We got your back when moving to Portland. Jay Diggity. Man, it's been about a year. It's been a fast year. First and foremost, we were just talking about this right when the pandemic hit. They just shut everything down, and we shot a video almost a year to the date, and you were saying it's going to really start shrinking up the inventory. Let's talk, before we get into the riots and all that, like, what has it really done here to Portland with the housing?
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I thought that the inventory would shrink up because what we saw is when COVID originally hit, people just didn't know what was going to happen. So there was people, even the forecasters and the strategists and everyone that professionalizes themselves on being these market indicator folks said that the real estate industry would probably collapse and all these things. And,
right.
What I was seeing at the time was people that were under contract were so unclear about what was going on. They were terminating their contract. So I think it was like 25% of the houses back then were going back on the market that were under contract. Because I was actually rewatching the video, and it said that at that point there was 800 listings a week and 125 a month were closing. 800 a month. 125 were going back on the market, so 25% were going back on the market, but the inventory rates were shrinking and the buying rates were staying even. So I predicted that our inventory would decrease and that our buyer rates would stay up, which would eventually shrink the market way down. And what it has done is done exactly that. Mm-hmm. And our market is so freaking competitive right now. I mean, you're talking about when they do inventory measurements and we look at inventory, I mean, typically if you went to the grocery store and you see one row of food, that's like a 1 day of holding power, So that's when we look at inventory, it's 4 months of inventory and below is a seller's market, 4 to 6 is a balance market, and 6 and above is a buyer's market. We haven't seen a buyer's market since 2012. Where we are today is at 0.7 months of inventory. That means if we stopped listing houses today, we would be out in 3/4 of a month based on the absorption rate. So when COVID actually hit, we were right at that 1.3 mark. But in the last 3 years, we'd been wavering between like 1.3 and 2.7. We hadn't hit threes. And when the market collapsed in like 2010, 2011, we actually were at almost 20 months of inventory. So that's how big of a gap it is. And it would take, even if people kept saying to us, well, we're going to wait for people to, foreclose and we're going to see another downturn and all these things. Well, we are currently seeing about 250,000 foreclosures hit the market nationwide every single month. And just based on the absorption rates, you can't even find a foreclosed house. With the way that forbearance worked, I mean, it would have maybe even doubled it or quadrupled it if everybody went into, financial bankruptcy. But the crazy part is we just saw that the government is now offering a bailout for anybody that took forbearance. They can refinance their house into a 40-year loan. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people that actually just took that money and they were buying Bitcoin and they were buying stock and they were investing it. They just weren't making their house payments anymore. And now the government just bailed all these people out, which they always do. But because they didn't want to see another repeat of what happened last time. So even if everybody would have foreclosed, it would have never even created a financial disaster because the absorption rate's so crazy. There's still people buying. People now actually are wanting to be more mobile than ever before and live where they want because with the way that exactly a lot of the companies realized that their production levels went up. They don't need to have their employees in the workspace working every day, and it just creates now a more free flowing environment and more of a freeing situation for people in the workforce. So we got so many people moving to Portland over the last year, and that are still moving there, and it's crazy and it's super competitive. But like I said, with the inventory being down so low, we've sold more houses. Our business actually last year, we multiplied our business by 5x in 2020 versus 2019. Just our team. We didn't add any agents. That was just the results. This year, we're actually doubling that again. And the reason why, and people are like, well, the inventory is really low. There's agents out there, 50% of the markets haven't even sold a house in 2021. Our team, we're going to grow our business now another 2x, which is insane. So people say, well, how do you guys get deals accepted? Like, people come to us. Obviously, we have a big, massive group of agents now, over 200 throughout the country. And this is what we teach agents is, we have to represent our clients. And it's kind of like hiring an attorney. Do you want the court-appointed attorney that's just going to dot the I's and cross the T's and do the bare minimum? Or do you want to work with someone that's a high-powered attorney that specializes in their craft and knows exactly how to get things done? And that's what we do. We work directly with the listing agents. We're in communication 24/7. We're finding out what it's going to take to get the offers accepted. We want to know exactly what that seller wants to accept an offer. Do they need rent back? Are they looking for a specific number? Are they looking for a certain percentage down? Do they want to take their hot tub? Do they want to leave their cat? Who knows? People are crazy right now, and I'm seeing the craziest offers written. But guess what? At the end of the day, it's all about the transparency with our clients, and that's exactly what they get when they call, which is when we can set the stage and have a 100% clear, transparent transaction. That is what sets up the clients for success. And working with our local lender, Addison, we just had another example a couple of weeks ago where the client that we were working with, and they can use whoever they want. They were working with the national lender, and deal after deal after deal was getting denied. Well, then they ended up switching over to using Addison. Guess what? Deal got accepted. And the thing is when you're working with national lenders, and people can say that they're licensed in other states, and even you and I have had this issue with our own transactions, is we use an agent, say in Portland for our Phoenix purchase or Houston purchase, and guess what? They don't know all the regulations, laws, and what the timelines are. And even though that they are licensed, it doesn't mean they're a professional in their marketplace. So a lot of these agents, especially on the listing side, even when we list houses, we look and see who their lender's with. Unfortunately, if their lender is someone that we don't really know or not even local and I can't get a hold of them, that gives me zero confidence that their deal is going to close or that they took the right steps with the client at the beginning of the transaction to get their deal even accepted. And that's exactly what I need to know on my seller's behalf, is that this lender has their client's best interest at hand. And if I can't get a hold of them and guarantee that they put you through the right processes, I don't have assurance that the deal's going to close. So guess what? That deal goes right to the bottom of the page. So when our lender, Addison, he's worked with us now on over hundreds of transactions. He knows the way that we get deals accepted. He calls the listing agent. We'll present the offer in person if we have to. However we need to get it done and accepted. If our client really wants that house, they're going to do it. And we just need to know, do you trust us enough to make that happen? And obviously, we're getting so many deals accepted. We've been very grateful. Our clients have been amazing. And when people are relocating, dude, you know how it is when you move. The last thing you want to even think about is all this craziness going on. So we try to make it as seamless as possible. Our team with Heather, Jessica, Trisha, everyone, and Shauna, our transaction coordinator, just makes this whole process a nice, smooth process, because you do not need to worry about the craziness of moving from California, Florida, Mexico,
or
Canada.
Out of this country.
Exactly.
No, we're seeing that for sure. And that was the huge thing when I really started shooting these videos and channels, was that, I moved to Portland a couple of years ago. So I really wanted to build something like this because it is difficult. But now it's not just the Portland market, it's across the nation. This is sweeping. And, some of the studies that come out, and you may be watching this and it's hitting you directly in the feelers, is that there's no better time now than to own your own home, right? And we get shaped by these historic events. '08 for us, what do all our friends say? I'm just going to wait for the market to crash and I'll buy. Well, the market's never crashed besides in '08, and it's usually even gone up. So that really, or may not happen again. But a pandemic, right? Now everybody's like, if a pandemic hits, I need my own space. So that's what's really caused everything to do this, and people are really valuing owning their own home, and it hit the Portland market massively. So now I want to kind of hit you, Jesse, with the one thing that, we've grown our business 5x, 2x, 10x is because of who we are. We're open and honest about things, and we've given you a perspective of the Portland Metro like nobody else. But we're a year separated from, not only COVID, but some of the riots that were going down. What's like your take on that previous year, and where are we at today?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that this even happened. In my personal opinion, I lived in the middle of it, and it was real frustrating. But this is why, and people are still moving here, and people call us all the time. It's one of their top exactly, and that's one of their biggest concerns, and I completely understand why it is. Yep. It would be my concern as well. It's very centralized to, Pioneer Square was the hardest hit place because that's where the federal building was, and then any of the surrounding Portland police precincts, which there is 8. So in the last 2 months, there's only been one riot. The George Floyd anniversary was pretty much the end of the riots. And then randomly out of the blue, just like 2 days ago, there was another riot. And, it's all in the Portland proper, like downtown area for the most part. And it does leak over onto the east side just a little bit. But most of the people, when they move here, they're moving out to like Lake Oswego, Beaverton, Hillsborough, Camas, Washington, Tualatin, Oregon, Oregon City. These places are not affected by the riots one bit. The most interesting piece about this whole thing is downtown, which is where all the riots were happening. And downtown is separated out into like, you got South Waterfront, you have downtown, which is where the business district is, right, which is where the riots were happening. Then you have Chinatown. Then you have the Pearl District, Northwest, Slabtown.
Yep.
And that's pretty much. Oh, and then you have Goose Hollow.
Yep.
Exactly. So that's all pretty much condo living. Before COVID hit, our condo market was the softest it's ever been. Since COVID hit,
explain soft.
Oh yeah. So when I was talking about inventory markets earlier, and I was saying that, we hadn't seen a buyer's market in ever, and we were super low inventory. Well, on the condo side, it was actually at like 8 to 12 months of inventory. The condo market was very soft. That means that condos, if someone was going to put one on the market, they knew it would take at least 8 to 12 months to sell. And that typically meant 8 to 12 months at full price offer. So one thing that people will do is they'll call us and they say, oh, this house has been on the market for 6 months. We got to lowball them. Well, a smart listing agent will already have informed their client that it was going to take them 6 months to sell their condo. But that's at full price. So this is why typically people don't get what they think is a deal. Yes, there are things that we can get, and yes, there's negotiations to be had. But I'm just trying to set up everyone for what reality is.
Yep. Because
we want to sell the house as fast as we can, because the faster you sell the house, the more money you typically get, unless we can see what the averages are. Well, since COVID hit and the riots, the condo market has actually almost came to dead balance, which is crazy. We have less inventory and more sales with condos as well. And the interesting piece is that people pulled their condos off the market because it was down in that area. So that's one thing. 2, the condos that are in the air are actually selling a lot better. I have a ground level condo right now on the market for $1.5 million, and I'm getting a lot of activity. People are seeing it, but a lot of people are just saying, yeah, it's on the ground. I don't really like that because of everything that's going on.
Yep.
And the Pearl District did get hit by the rioting a little bit the first night. And this was like over a year ago. After that, we just saw protests and marches, no destruction. And then up into the other places like Nob Hill, Goose Hollow and whatnot, no rioting at all, no bad situation. So it's pretty compartmentalized to a couple of specific areas. A lot of our clients want to live over on the lower southeast and lower northeast side, like Alberta and Richmond, and none of those places were hit. So those places are still great places to live. And, one thing that is kind of transpiring through all this, which is something that we're going to talk about, is the homeless situation. And, in my opinion, I think the homeless situation is the worst it's ever been. We are seeing a lot of homeless that are living in Chinatown, which is kind of like the hub of where it's all out. But then you see these like random camps all throughout Portland, and it's typically in the industrial areas or off the beaten path, So it's not like they're popping up in the middle of like residential neighborhoods. However, Laurelhurst Park is
Hmm.
a very nice neighborhood park. It's probably one of the most beautiful places in Portland, and the homeless has gotten kind of crazy in there. And Portland did just implement a bill that's going to allow camping in any public park. It just went to the governor's office. There is a couple of restrictions in there. So if that passes, I think you're going to see, and this is downtown specifically in Portland, or Portland specifically. So I think if that passes, we're going to see more spread out homeless camps and whatnot. We need to get this thing under control, and people are donating money, raising money,
Yep.
funding's coming in. People are offering up, private companies are offering to help this. There's something going on deeper that I don't understand, and a lot of other people don't understand. I know the state gets federal grants from the government for the homeless situation and for helping these people. So I think that Oregon politicians maybe just like getting that money and doing whatever they want, so they keep getting more. I don't really know, and I'm not going to speculate. That's just what I've heard. And I do know that if you get out into the suburbs, like Beaverton, Hillsborough, Lake Oswego, Tualatin, like I mentioned before, it's pretty much non-existent.
Right.
You don't see it anywhere. This is
Yeah,
a
half
very
the things going on
centralized.
I never even heard about. People were calling me like, "You alive?" I'm like, "I don't even know what's going on. What's going on?" Because the news is trying to get clicks and views. So you
Exactly.
definitely, it's not as bad as you're gonna hear it sometimes as the news portrays. But I want to talk about, we'll kind of wrap these things up. I want to first of all give a shout out to a team that we've been helping out too, and they are going around and cleaning up some of the camps and stuff. So if you ever want to help out with that, you can just email our email down in the link to fund these people. It's really cool what they're doing. But secondly, that's the cool thing about this, guys, is like the news is going to portray the riots and the homeless situation, but it's the locals who love freaking Portland, Oregon and the surrounding areas that are coming together and uniting and helping these companies to go clean up. Like, we freaking love this area and we always will. And that's why so many freaking people are moving here, is because it is an incredible place. So don't let the news always follow you. But Jesse, if someone's moving in the next 2 months, 6 months, 12 months, and they buy a house in this market, are they protected, through the future? What's your kind of thoughts with that?
Well, what do you mean by protected in the
Well,
future?
sorry about that. That's kind of not worded right, but the fear I think that people have right now is that if they buy into this market right now, that it's going to tank and they're going to lose all their money. What do you feel like if you get in? I mean, obviously you pay for the house because you really want a house right now, but 6 months, 12 months from now, are we going to continue to see this trend up?
This is the thing I always say is I follow this. I listen and follow the smart people. I don't follow the people that aren't in the game. So when I follow people, I mean, you're talking like we're personal friends with Ken McElroy
Yep.
and a lot of other people that are very, very smart, Grant Cardones and whatnot. And when I see these people, and now you're seeing even
Who are major real estate investors.
exactly, and now you're seeing financial institutions and even like pensions purchasing real estate. And the reason why is because right now, like lumber is the highest it's ever been. It's actually coming down again, but you're seeing less building permits issued than ever before, which is a huge detriment to the consumer. The older generations are staying in their houses longer. That means they're not selling their houses to the first time home buyer. There's not as much resale as there ever was before. So when people ask me, are we in a safe market? One is like, you have to remember something. The government now and the financial lending institutions actually have your back, and they are never going to let the client overextend themselves. There's so many hurdles. What I showed this last year is that if the scale of 100 is the measures you have to take, like if there's a baseline 100,
Right.
and as you go higher, it's easier to get loans. Right now we're sitting at like 148. In 2006, it was like almost 1,000.
Yep.
If you
Fog
could
this
breathe,
mirror.
fog the mirror, exactly. If you had a heartbeat, it didn't matter. You could lie and say what your social security number was. It didn't matter. It is so tight now. And secondly, the people that own their houses today have more equity in their house than ever before. Also, people are putting more money down. People don't believe in the same things they believe. People are very intelligent. However, our market before the low inventory hit was very stable. The increase in pricing was not going crazy. It wasn't all these ups and downs. We were only growing at like 1%. Well, when the market inventory dropped, obviously supply and demand, low supply, high demand, guess what? It causes a natural inflation. So will we see the number drop back down and will it crash the market? Absolutely not. like I said, even if it came down, say the house was selling at 500 last year, it's now selling at 550. That 10% is not going to keep going forever unless our inventory stayed the same forever.
Yep.
So if it does come back down, it would come back down to an even playing field of, say, 1% growth. But because all the houses have already sold and comped out, that is our new baseline.
Right.
And people don't understand that. There's no false numbers that are baking these values of the home. In 2004, people were getting a house for $200,000, refinancing it, taking equity out because they got an appraisal now that said the house was worth, if they got it at 300, now it says it's worth 500,000. And they thought they could sell their house in 5 years and it'd be worth, 700,000. And that was just unrealistic. I kept telling everyone, you guys, this is not a realistic situation. Everyone's going to get burnt that are taking these adjustable rate mortgages. And every friend that I know that did do it back then, they all went into foreclosure unless they put a rental in there. So I don't think that, they're going to get burned. And I do believe that it's still a great time. It's funny because everyone says like 2 years ago, I'm just going to wait for the market to collapse. And now they're back in the game. They're paying $100,000 more than what they would have paid back then. And I keep telling everyone and what my advice is it's the right time when you're ready to buy.
Exactly.
If you're waiting, the government is protecting the people so much now, or not the government, the financial institutions, because they do not want to repeat of what happened. That housing crisis caused the Depression. The Depression did not cause the housing crisis. That's the core difference between what happened last time and all other depression or recession in the past. Right. The only last time the housing market dropped during a recession was the Great Depression, and it still only fell 8%. And that was with 28% unemployment rates. So when the people that were affected this time weren't the people that own homes. The people that own homes could still work virtually. They were still getting paychecks. Now they're offering the forbearance bailout. So there's so many protections that the value is still going to be there. And if all of a sudden we had this big giant wave of buyers come, and I'm talking multi-million buyers, then the prices would have an issue. Right now, there is so much demand. And here's the thing. It's not more demand than it was a year ago. There's just less inventory, so it makes the offset so much different. So we need more inventory. We need more housing. We need more people to be reselling their home. But like I said, the elderly want their space. They want to keep their house. They're prideful, and it's totally understandable. But back in the day, this is what drove a lot of first-time home buyers purchases was resales. We're seeing less resales than ever. So It's just one of those things where it'll eventually come back, but we're starting to see it be pushed out. And this is what the financial players say is you're going to start seeing these secondary markets start to pick up. And even when people come and work with us, we're now seeing people go, instead of going 5 miles outside of the city, now they're going 20 and 30 miles outside of the city to find those better deals and better values. Yep. And that's exactly what happened. So when we talked about the financial institutions, the BlackRocks, the pension funds, all buying real estate, and when we talk to the professionals, they say that the housing market's going to grow exponentially, and I'm not going to give a number because I don't want someone to hold me to this, but over the next 10 years. And that's exactly why you're seeing these massive institutions get into purchasing homes because, going 1% to 2% on your 401k isn't that great of a deal anymore because you can buy real estate. You can take a 27 and a half years of depreciation, 10% decrease every year. There's so many valuable reasons why people want to buy homes. And I know what people are going to say here. They're going to say, well, now you're just getting rid of the first-time home buyer's opportunity to buy. But then everybody wants affordable housing, so they want rentals. And that's what these people do is they create them into rentals, which does give people affordable living. There are a lot of people that don't want to buy homes or they can't afford it or they want to they just want to rent and be mobile their whole life.
Right.
So I believe already 40% of the homes in America are rentals already. So it's not like – and there's crazy amount. There's like 300 million homes in America that are occupied. So the number would have to dramatically shift. And when I see these things of people saying, oh, there's these institutions buying all the houses in the market. Dude, I haven't even seen a financial institution purchase a home in Portland.
Yep.
So, those are my 2 cents on it. There's a lot of things that go into this, which is why we're here. We want to understand what your situation is. We want to know how we can help you.
Yep.
And after going through this, hundreds of times now and helping people relocate, there isn't something we haven't seen.
Yeah, and again, the whole relocation thing is like it's our passion, it's our pride, helping people move, relocate here. You get here, we take care of the rest. But this is the kind of passion, this is the kind of excellence that we put towards this work to get you into that house, because sometimes being a relocation client, you're behind the 8 ball because there's a lot of local people here that they can get the knowledge of right quick. So we've completely prepared ourselves. That is our business, is relocation. We do it a ton, and the only way that we can help you do that is you've got to reach out to us. You've got to give us a call. You got to shoot us a text, send us an email. Days, nights, weekends, we got your back when moving to the Portland and Vancouver areas. And until the next video, guys, we'll catch you later.